What would you do if you met someone younger than you, someone with nothing but dreams, and you began to feel love growing inside you? Would you follow your heart or listen to the people around you? This is the story of how I faced that choice. My name is Sophia. I am 47 years old. I live in Madrid, Spain. I am divorced. I do not have a husband or a partner. I live alone in a quiet apartment. My work is my life. I am a fashion designer. I worked for many years and built my career step by step. Now I design clothes for famous people. I earn good money. I travel for shows. Many people know my name. From outside, it looks like I have everything. But inside, I often feel alone. I come home to silence. I make dinner for one. I sleep in a large bed by myself. People see me with perfect hair, new dresses, and a strong walk. But they do not see my empty evenings. They do not see how I sometimes wish for one simple thing. Someone who cares for me, not my money or my designs. One Saturday afternoon, I went to a small art gallery in the city. I liked to look at paintings when I wanted peace. The gallery was quiet. Soft music played in the background. I walked slowly past the paintings. Some showed the sea, some showed mountains, some showed faces full of feelings. Then I saw a man standing in one corner. He was tall, with brown hair, and maybe 29 years old. His clothes were simple. His shoes were old. His hands had paint marks, like he had just finished work. He stood near a small table where his paintings were displayed. I stopped to look at them. His name was written on a card. Mark. His paintings were full of color. One showed a woman sitting alone near a window. Another showed a child running in the rain. I felt something in his art. It was real. It was honest. Mark looked at me. His eyes were gentle, but also shy. "Do you like them?" he asked softly. His Spanish accent was clear, but his voice was quiet. "Yes," I said. "They feel alive." He smiled a little. "Thank you. Not many people stop to look. Most just walk past." I looked at his clothes, his shoes, and his tired hands. I understood he was not rich, but there was light in his eyes. There was hope. He told me he worked as a painter and also as a waiter at night to pay rent. He shared that he dreamed of having a big studio one day. He wanted to paint full-time, but it was hard. I bought one of his small paintings that day. It was a picture of a street with yellow light and shadows. He wrapped it carefully in paper and gave it to me. "I hope you enjoy it," he said. I went home with the painting, but also with a new thought. I kept seeing his eyes, full of hope. The next week, I returned to the gallery. He was there again. We talked more. We shared coffee at a small cafe nearby. His stories were simple but full of life. He laughed when he spoke about his childhood in a small town. He told me about painting in the streets, selling pictures for a few coins. I told him about my fashion shows, about Paris, Milan, and New York. Our lives were different, but we listened to each other with care. Soon we began to meet more often. Sometimes I invited him to a cafe. Sometimes we walked in the park. One evening he showed me his tiny room. It was small and old. The walls had cracks. But his room was full of paintings. There were colors everywhere. He showed me one picture he was working on, a woman wearing a red dress, looking at the sky. He said, "I paint people who dream." Before I go further, let me remind you, if you like stories like this, please subscribe, share this video with friends, and comment below. Your support helps me bring more simple English stories for you. Thank you. The more I met Mark, the more I felt different. He was younger than me. He did not have money or a big car. But when I sat with him, I felt light. He made me smile in a way I had not smiled in years. He asked about me, not about my work or my business. When I was with him, I was not Sophia the designer. I was just a woman, listening, laughing, and walking beside a man who cared. But not everyone understood. People around me began to whisper. Some said, "Why is she with such a young man?" Others said, "He only wants her money." At first I tried to ignore them, but words can cut deep. At parties, I saw people look at us with strange eyes. They whispered when we walked away. I pretended not to care, but in truth, I felt pain. One night, I asked him, "Do you hear what people say about us?" Mark looked at me and said, "Yes, I hear. But do you believe them?" His question surprised me. I stayed quiet. Then he took my hand and said, "I do not care about your money, Sophia. I care about you. You believe me, don't you?" I saw his eyes, and I knew the truth. Still, I was afraid. I had been hurt before. My ex-husband left me for another woman many years ago. Since then, I had promised myself not to open my heart again. But with Mark, that promise began to break. He was not like the men I knew. He did not ask for gifts. He only wanted time with me, walks in the park, and coffee in small cups. One evening, as we sat near the river, he looked at me and said, "Sophia, when I paint now, I paint you. You bring me light." His words touched me. For years, I had been called strong, successful, famous, but never light. I turned my head away because tears filled my eyes. He saw them and smiled gently. Our story had only begun, but already I knew something. Mark was not just another person in my life. He was someone who could change it. Someone who made me feel alive again. When Mark told me I brought light into his life, I could not stop thinking about his words. For years, I was strong in my work, strong in front of people, but inside, I felt empty. His words stayed with me. They touched a part of me that was quiet for too long. Our days together became longer. We met in cafes, we walked through the park, and sometimes I went with him to small art markets. He stood with his paintings on the street. People passed by. Some looked, some did not. A few bought a painting. I stood near him, watching, feeling proud of him. He never asked for help, never asked for money. He only wanted me to be there. But soon the whispers around me grew louder. At my work, some people spoke behind my back. They said, "Sophia has lost her mind. She is dating a young man who wants her money." Others laughed and said, "Maybe he is her son's age." I felt hurt. I had no son, but the words still cut deep. When I came home at night, I sometimes sat alone and asked myself, "Am I foolish? Am I blind?" One evening I asked Mark again, "Do you care about what people say?" He looked at me with calm eyes. "No, they do not live our life. They do not feel what we feel. Let them talk. We know the truth." His answer gave me peace for a moment, but the fear inside me was not gone. One night we went to a small restaurant. The light was soft, music was quiet, and the food smelled warm. Mark looked happy. He told me he sold 2 paintings that week. He wanted to save money for better paint and canvas. As he spoke, I looked at his hands. They were strong, but the skin was dry and marked with color. I reached out and touched them. He looked at me and smiled. After dinner, as we walked outside, he stopped under a streetlight. He held my face in his hands. His eyes were full of feeling. Then he kissed me. It was not a quick kiss. It was deep and full of truth. My heart beat fast, but not with fear. For the first time in many years, I felt love again. After that night, our bond grew stronger. We spent more time together. I invited him to my apartment. He looked at the wide windows, the clean white walls, and the quiet space. "It is beautiful," he said, "but it feels empty." His words were true. My home had been empty for years. When he was there, it felt alive. Sometimes I worried about money. I was rich compared to him. I had a good job, a car, and savings. He lived in a small room and ate cheap meals. I wanted to help him, but I feared he would feel weak if I offered. One evening, I said gently, "Mark, let me give you some money for paint." He shook his head fast. "No, Sophia. Please. I do not want your money. I want your time." I felt ashamed. I thought he might be angry. But then he took my hand and said softly, "If one day I need help, I will ask. But right now, I need to stand on my own." His pride made me respect him even more. Weeks turned into months. We grew close. We laughed more, shared small secrets, and made plans to visit the sea. But life was not easy. People kept talking. One afternoon, I met an old friend at a cafe. She looked at me and said, "Sophia, why do you waste your time on this young man? He will leave you one day. He wants your money, not your love." Her words hurt me. I went home with a heavy heart. That evening, Mark came to see me. He noticed my face. "What is wrong?" he asked. I told him what my friend said. He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Sophia, if you believe her, I will walk away. But if you believe me, stay by my side. Do not stand in the middle." I felt tears in my eyes. I knew he was right. I had to choose. I whispered, "I believe you, Mark." He hugged me tightly, and I felt safe again. One winter night, as the city lights shone outside, he surprised me. He pulled something from his pocket. It was not a diamond. It was not gold. It was a small silver ring, simple and plain. He looked at me and said, "Sophia, I love you. Will you marry me?" I was silent. My heart raced. He was young, poor, and people already judged us. But his eyes were true. He wanted me, not my money. Slowly, I said, "Yes." His face filled with joy. He kissed me again, and I felt tears fall. We married in a small church outside the city. There were no big parties, no rich guests. Only a few close friends came. I wore a simple white dress. He wore a black suit, not new but clean. We held hands and promised love. When we walked out of the church, the sky was blue and the sun was warm. For a time, life felt perfect. We moved to a small house near the edge of Madrid. It was not big, but it was ours. He painted in one room. I worked on my designs in another. In the evening, we sat together, ate simple meals, and talked about our dreams. But soon, shadows returned. Mark often used his phone in secret. He whispered into it late at night. When I asked, he said, "It is nothing, just an old friend." But his face looked worried. One afternoon, I followed him outside. I saw him with a young woman. She touched his arm. She smiled at him. My heart felt cold. I turned away quickly. That night, I could not sleep. I asked myself again and again, did I make a mistake? Did people warn me for a reason? Does he really love me? Or was I blind? The next evening I asked him, who was she? He stayed quiet at first. Then he said, "Sophia, I need to tell you the truth." When Mark said, "I need to tell you the truth," my body felt weak. My heart was afraid, but I waited. He sat down on the sofa. His hands shook. His eyes looked tired. "Her name is Elena," he began. "She was my girlfriend before I met you. We broke up, but she came back. She wants money. She said she will tell lies about us if I do not give her money. She said she will tell the world I married you only for your money." I sat still. His words cut deep. "And is that true?" I asked. My voice was quiet, but sharp. He looked straight into my eyes. "No, Sophia. I love you. You know me. You know I never asked for money. But Elena does not care. She only wants to hurt me. And now she wants to hurt us." I turned my head away. My thoughts were heavy. For years, I built my life. I worked hard, step by step. I gave everything for my career. And now, with him, I opened my heart again. But what if he was lying? What if the people were right? "Why did you not tell me before?" I asked. He put his head in his hands. "I was afraid. I did not want to lose you. I thought I could solve it myself. But I cannot. I need you to know the truth." For a moment I wanted to stand up and walk away. But then I looked at him again. His eyes had no lies. His voice was low, but true. I saw fear, but not greed. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. He whispered, "I do not want your money. I only want your trust. I will face Elena myself." The next week, Elena came to our small house. I was there. She was young, beautiful, and full of anger. She looked at me with cold eyes. "Do you really believe him?" she asked. "He was mine before he was yours. He only wants what you can give." I wanted to answer with anger, but I stayed calm. If he wanted money, he would already have it. But he chose to work. He chose to stay poor. He chose me, not my bank. Her face turned red. She shouted at Mark, "If you do not pay me, I will show pictures. I will tell stories. I will make your life shameful." Mark stood tall. "Do what you want," he said. I will not give you money. I will not let you control us." His voice was strong, louder than I had ever heard. Elena looked at him, shocked. She wanted power, but he did not bend. Finally, she turned around and left. The sound of the door closing was sharp. The silence after was heavy. I sat down slowly. My body shook. He came close to me. "I am sorry, Sophia. I should have told you before." He touched my hand. I pulled it back at first, but then I looked at him. His face was full of pain, but also truth. I felt my anger melt a little. That night, I did not sleep. I thought about everything. The whispers, the people, my friend's warning, Elena's words. Then I thought about Mark, his laugh, his art, his simple meals, his strong hands. I thought about the way he never asked for more than time. In the morning, I sat by the window. The sun rose slowly. He came to me, quiet. He said, "If you cannot trust me, I will leave. I do not want you to live in fear because of me. I love you too much." For that, my eyes filled with tears. He was ready to walk away, even though it broke him. And that was when I knew he loved me. Not my clothes, not my car, not my work. Me. I stood up. I went to him. I took his hands. "Mark," I said, "I believe you, but I am still afraid." He nodded. "I know, but we will fight the fear together." From that day, we did not speak of Elena again. Weeks passed. She never returned. The whispers from people never stopped, but I learned to ignore them. When people stared at us in the street, I held his hand tighter. When people spoke behind my back, I smiled more. Mark continued to paint. His art grew better and brighter. One day, a gallery owner came to see his work. He liked what he saw. He offered Mark a small exhibition in the city. It was not a big show, but it was real. On the night of the exhibition, the gallery was full of people. They walked slowly from one painting to another. They spoke softly about colors and faces. I stood in the corner, watching. Mark stood by his work, talking to people with a calm smile. He looked proud, but not proud of himself only. Proud of the journey, proud of the chance. When he came to me, his face was shining. "Sophia, they like my work," he said. "They really like it." I hugged him, even with people around us. I whispered, "I told you. You are more than what they say." That night, as we walked home, I looked at him and thought about our story. He was young, poor, and full of dreams. I was older, rich, and tired of being alone. We came from two different worlds, but together we built a new one. Months later, we moved again. Not far, but to a small village near the sea. The house was simple, with white walls and blue windows. From the balcony, we could see the water. Every evening we sat outside. He painted while I worked on my new designs. Sometimes we drank wine. Sometimes we ate bread and cheese. Life was quiet, but full. People still whispered. They still judged. Some said, "It will not last." Others said, "She bought him with her money." But their words did not matter anymore. One evening, as the sun fell into the sea, He came to me with a soft smile. "Sophia," he said, "do you know what you gave me?" I laughed a little. "A roof, a ring, and food." He shook his head. "No, you gave me belief. You believed in me when no one else did. You saw my art. You saw my dream. And you made me strong." I touched his face. "And you gave me love. You gave me laughter. You gave me back my heart." We stayed there, silent, looking at the sky. The sea moved slowly, and the stars began to appear. I thought back to my life before him. Big shows, big houses, long nights alone. Success with no smile. Now with him, I had less money but more joy. I had fewer parties but more peace. I had whispers around me, but truth beside me. People said love should follow rules. Love should be between the same age, the same class, the same world. But love does not listen to people. Love has its own rules. And sometimes love comes when you stop waiting. This is my story. I was 47 when I met Mark, a young painter with nothing but dreams. Together we faced judgment, lies, and fear. But we also found truth, trust, and light. So I ask you, if you were in my place, what would you do? Would you choose fear, or would you choose love? What would you do if you saw your best friend's boyfriend with another girl? Would you tell her, or would you stay quiet? I asked myself this question one Saturday afternoon, and my answer changed everything for me and for my best friend. My name is Sarah. I am 26 years old. I never thought one simple moment could change my heart so much. But that day, I saw something that made me doubt a person I thought I could trust. Please don't forget to subscribe, share this story, and leave a comment if you also wonder what you would do in my place. It helps me continue to share these stories with you. It was a sunny Saturday in Boston. My best friend Olivia was at work in her office. She worked long hours, but she still tried to spend time with her boyfriend, Daniel. Daniel was a young doctor at the city hospital. Olivia often told me that he was tired, that he worked many night shifts, and that they did not go out much anymore. I always thought this was normal. Being a doctor is a hard job, and he needed rest. But that day, I saw something that made me question all of it. I was walking near the bus station. I did not plan to stop, but I saw something that froze me. I saw Daniel. He was not in his doctor clothes. He was not at the hospital. He was standing near the coffee shop, and he was not alone. A young woman was with him. They were standing close, and they were smiling at each other. I stopped walking and watched. I wanted to believe it was nothing, but then I saw Daniel take something from his pocket. It was a small box. He gave it to her. She opened it, and she smiled. It looked like a gift. Why would Daniel give a secret gift to another girl? I remembered Olivia's words about him being so tired and so busy. But here he was, looking relaxed, laughing, and giving presents. I felt cold and nervous. What if he was hiding something from her? I thought about leaving, but I could not. My eyes stayed on them. He touched her arm as they talked. They looked like more than friends. My heart started to beat faster. Should I do something? Should I take a photo? I had never done anything like that before, but I was scared Olivia would not believe me if I just told her. I took out my phone, raised it slowly, and clicked. I took a picture. When they walked away together, I stayed frozen in my place. I looked at the picture again and again. Daniel with another girl. Daniel giving her a gift. My head was full of questions. Who was she? Why was he with her? What should I do? I felt like I was holding a secret that could break my best friend's heart. That night, I could not sleep well. I wanted to tell Olivia right away, but I also wanted to protect her. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was a good reason. But what if there was not? I thought about how Olivia trusted me. If she later found out that I saw this and stayed quiet, she would feel even more hurt. I felt stuck between two hard choices. The next morning, Olivia sent me a message. She asked me if I was free for lunch at her apartment. I typed yes, but my hands felt strange. My head was full of the photo. How could I sit and smile with her when I was hiding this? But I told myself this was the chance. Maybe this was the moment I needed to tell her. When I reached her place, Olivia opened the door with a big smile. She looked so happy, and I felt my heart break. She had no idea about what I saw. She made me sit at the table and poured some juice. She talked about her office work. She laughed about some small things. She even said, "Daniel is so tired these days. He hardly has time to rest." I almost cried right there. I looked at her face, so full of trust, and I knew I could not keep this secret. She noticed my silence. "Are you okay?" she asked. I took a deep breath. My hands were shaking, but I opened my phone. "Olivia," I said slowly. "I saw Daniel yesterday." She looked surprised. "Where?" she asked, still smiling. I turned the phone so she could see the picture. He was with another girl. He gave her a gift. Her smile disappeared. She took the phone and stared at the photo. Her eyes looked different now, serious and a little afraid. "Who is this?" she asked me. I shook my head. "I don't know, but they looked close." For a long moment she said nothing. She just kept looking at the picture. I felt my whole body turn heavy. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I didn't want to hurt you, but I had to tell you." She looked at me again, but this time her eyes were not warm. She looked confused, maybe even angry. "Why did you take a photo?" she asked. I answered quickly, "Because I didn't want to guess. I wanted you to see it yourself." She stayed silent. My stomach felt like stone. Did I just make everything worse? Maybe she thought I was only making trouble. Maybe she would not believe me at all. I wanted to cry, but I stayed quiet. Finally, Olivia said, "I need to ask him." She picked up her phone and typed something fast. I asked her if she wanted me to leave, but she shook her head. "Stay," she said. "I want him to explain this to both of us." I froze. My hands turned cold. I did not know if I wanted to face him. What if he lied? What if he said I was the problem? But it was too late now. The truth was on the way. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Olivia stood up and walked to the door. She opened it. Daniel was there. And he was not alone. The same girl from the photo was standing right behind him. When Daniel walked in, the air in the room felt heavy. He looked calm, but I was not. Behind him was the same young woman I had seen near the bus station. She had long brown hair, bright smile, and she walked into the apartment like she knew Olivia. My mouth went dry. Olivia stood still, her arms crossed, waiting for him to speak. I sat on the chair, not knowing if I should look at them or look down. Daniel looked at Olivia first. "You asked me to come. What's wrong?" His voice was soft, almost too normal for the situation. Olivia did not answer. Instead, she lifted my phone from the table and showed him the photo. His eyes moved over it, and then something I did not expect happened. He laughed. He actually laughed. My face turned hot. Was he making fun of me? Did he not understand what this meant for Olivia? He turned to the young woman and then back to Olivia. "Is this what this is about?" he asked. Olivia's lips pressed together. She pointed at the girl. "Who is she?" she asked firmly. The girl looked at me with kind eyes. "Oh," she said, "you must be Olivia's friend. I have heard about you." She stepped forward like nothing was wrong. I stared at her in shock. Heard about me? From who? From Daniel? My head spun. Daniel placed a hand on the girl's shoulder and said, "This is my cousin Emily. She came from New York this week. I wanted to surprise you, Olivia. That is why I didn't say anything." I blinked fast. Cousin? A surprise? My mind felt slow. All my thoughts from yesterday crashed into each other. The gift box, the smiles, the closeness. It all looked so wrong, but now he said it was family. Olivia looked at the girl. "Your cousin?" she repeated. The girl, Emily, nodded and smiled. "Yes, I am his cousin. My mother is his aunt. I came to Boston to study for a few months. He wanted to welcome me." I felt my hands shaking on my lap. Was I wrong this whole time? Daniel gave a small laugh again and said, "The box in the photo was a gift from my mother. She asked me to bring it for Emily. It is a necklace. She lost her old one." Emily pulled the chain from her neck. It was silver, small, and simple. She showed it to us. "See? From Aunt Mary," she said with a happy face. I felt my cheeks burn red. All my fear, all my secret worry, maybe it was nothing. My mouth opened, but no words came out. Olivia sat down slowly. She looked at the necklace. She looked at Daniel. Then she looked at me. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to hide under the table. Silence filled the room. Finally, I whispered, "I am sorry. I really thought something was wrong." Daniel shook his head, but his face was not angry. "I understand," he said. "But next time, just ask. Do not take photos like this." Olivia was still quiet. She was not angry at him, not even angry at me. She was only thinking. Emily sat down next to her and started to talk about her trip from New York, but I could not listen. My head was full of shame. After a while, Daniel poured some water and said calmly, "I work many hours, and I know Olivia worries, but I never wanted to hide anything. I just wanted the surprise to be special." Olivia looked down at her hands. "You could have told me at least something," she said. Daniel nodded. "Yes, I should have. I am sorry." His voice was soft. For a moment, the three of them looked like a family, and I felt like an outsider. My heart sank. When Emily went to the kitchen to help Olivia, I stayed in the living room with Daniel. I looked at him. "I was only trying to protect her," I said. He sighed. "I know, and it means you care. But you almost made her think I was unfaithful. That is dangerous." His words cut deep. My eyes watered. "I did not want to hurt anyone," I whispered. He nodded again, softer this time. "I know. You just saw one part of the story, not the whole." Later, we all sat together and tried to act normal. Emily told funny stories. Daniel smiled. Olivia smiled sometimes too, but I could see the small lines of worry on her face. Even if this was family, the photo had still shaken her. I could see it. She looked at Daniel with a question in her eyes. Could she trust him fully? Or had this moment planted a seed of doubt? When I left the apartment, the air outside felt heavy. Boston's streets were busy, but I felt alone. I walked slowly and thought about everything. I wanted to cry. I felt guilty. Maybe Olivia would never look at me the same way. Maybe she would always remember that I had once doubted Daniel. My chest hurt with regret. The next days were strange. Olivia did not message me as much. Usually, we talked every evening, but now she only sent short replies. I told myself she was busy, but I knew it was not only work. I had broken something between us. One night, I sat with my phone in my hand, wanting to call her, but I could not press the button. I felt afraid. Afraid of her silence. Afraid of what she really thought of me now. Finally, after 3 days, she called me. Her voice was soft. "Can we meet?" she asked. I agreed quickly. I wanted to see her, to explain again. We met at a small cafe near the park. She smiled when she saw me, but it was a tired smile. We ordered coffee and sat by the window. She looked outside for a long time before she spoke. "Sarah," she said, "I know you wanted to help me. I know you love me as a friend, but you hurt me too. You made me think Daniel was lying to me. For a moment, I thought my world was breaking." Her words were sharp, but they were true. Tears filled my eyes. "I am sorry," I whispered again. "I just thought you needed to know. I was wrong." She touched my hand gently. "I forgive you. But please, next time, talk to me first. Do not bring fear into my heart with a photo." I nodded, biting my lip. She was right. I should have spoken first. I should have trusted her to ask the questions. I had acted alone, and it almost destroyed trust between us. I promised her, I will never do this again. She gave a small smile, and I knew our friendship was safe, but not as strong as before. Trust takes time to heal. That evening, I walked home and thought deeply. I had learned something big. Sometimes we think we understand, but we do not see the full picture. One photo, one moment can lie. What looks wrong can be right. What looks bad can have a simple truth. I had judged too fast. I had made Olivia afraid for no reason, and I almost lost her because of it. A week later, Olivia invited me again, this time with Daniel and Emily. They wanted to show me that everything was fine. Emily cooked pasta, and we ate together. We laughed and talked, but deep inside, I was still careful. I wanted to protect my friend, but now I knew that protection needs patience. A friend must not only guard, but also wait for truth. After dinner, Daniel looked at me kindly. "I respect that you care for Olivia," he said. "That shows you are a true friend. But remember, sometimes good intentions can hurt if we don't wait for answers." His words stayed with me. I nodded slowly. He was right. As I walked home that night, I felt lighter. I had made a mistake, but I had also learned I would never forget this lesson. Friends are important, but so is truth. And truth sometimes waits behind patience, not behind quick action. I promised myself, next time, I will ask, not assume. Next time, I will speak, not just act. Days passed, and life slowly returned to normal. Olivia still met me for coffee, but I could feel something different between us. We laughed, we talked, but sometimes she looked at me with quiet eyes. I knew she still remembered that day. Trust takes time, and I had to give her that time. Daniel also changed a little. He sometimes asked Olivia to join him at the hospital cafeteria, even if only for 10 minutes. He wanted her to feel included in his life. When he told her about his busy hours, he also shared small stories about patients or coworkers. He opened his world to her. I noticed this when Olivia told me one evening. Her face looked softer. "Maybe he understood after all," she said. "Maybe he saw how much doubt can hurt." I was glad. Even if my mistake had caused pain, maybe it also pushed them to talk more. Sometimes pain makes people stronger if they survive it together. I hoped this was true for them. One Saturday, Olivia invited me to walk in Boston Common. The air was cool, and children were running around the grass. She looked calm. "Sarah," she said, "I want to thank you. I was angry at first. I felt betrayed by your photo. But now I understand. You were afraid for me. You wanted to protect me. You were wrong, but your heart was in the right place." Her words surprised me. Tears filled my eyes. "You still trust me?" I asked. She smiled. "I do. But I need you to trust me too. If you see something again, come to me first." I nodded. "I promise." At that moment, I felt a weight lift from my chest. Emily, the cousin, also became part of our small circle. She often joined us for coffee. She was cheerful, full of energy, and she did not hold anything against me. "I understand why you thought what you thought," she said one afternoon. "It did look strange, but now it is funny. You will always remember me as the cousin who caused trouble without meaning to." She laughed, and I laughed too, even though part of me still felt embarrassed. But in truth, I had learned something deep. I thought about it at night when I lay in bed. I had learned that sometimes we only see a part of the picture, a smile, a gift, a touch of a hand. Our mind builds a story around it, but that story is not always true. My mistake showed me that love and friendship need trust, not only suspicion. To protect someone, we must first believe in them. One evening, Olivia called me and said she wanted to meet for dinner. I agreed quickly. We met at a small Italian place near the river. The lights were warm, and the music was soft. When I arrived, she was already there with Daniel. They waved at me. I sat down, nervous but happy. Olivia looked at me. "I want you to know," she said. "Daniel and I are fine. We talk more now. And I think part of that is because of what happened." Daniel gave a small smile. "Yes," he said. "It reminded me that silence can hurt more than truth, even when the truth is simple." I felt relief wash over me. My mistake had not destroyed them. In some strange way, it had made them talk more openly. Olivia reached for my hand. "You are still my best friend," she said. My eyes filled with tears again. I whispered, "Thank you." After dinner, as we walked by the river, I thought about all that had happened. Just one moment, one photo, had changed so much. It had shaken my friendship, tested their relationship, and forced all of us to see truth more clearly. But it had also taught me a lesson I would never forget. Later that week, I shared the story with another close friend. She listened and then said, "So, what did you learn?" I smiled sadly. "I learned that even good intentions can hurt if we act too fast. I learned that trust is not only about what we see, but also about what we believe. And I learned that sorry is not weakness. Sorry is the start of peace." My friend nodded. She understood, and I felt stronger for saying it aloud. Time moved on. Emily stayed in Boston for a few more months. She became like a little sister to both Olivia and me. We went shopping, we cooked together, and we laughed about small things. Sometimes she teased me about the photo. "Next time, just ask me before you take my picture," she joked. I laughed too, because laughter was easier now. The pain had passed. The lesson had stayed. When Emily finally left for New York, we all went to the station together. Olivia hugged her tightly. Daniel carried her bag. I stood nearby, smiling. Emily waved at us as she boarded the bus. "Don't worry," she called out. "I will be back soon. And no more secret gifts next time." We laughed as the bus drove away. As we walked back through the busy Boston streets, Olivia slipped her arm through mine. "Do you know something?" she said. "This city feels less lonely with you here. I know we had a hard moment, but I am glad you are my friend." Her words warmed my heart. I smiled at her. "And I am glad you are mine. I will not make the same mistake again." She squeezed my arm gently, and in that small moment, I felt peace. Now, when I look back at that day near the bus station, I do not only see shame, I see growth. I see a lesson that changed me. I see how close I came to breaking trust, and how close I came to losing a friend, but I also see how truth, patience, and forgiveness can heal. And so, I carry this with me. If you ever see something that looks wrong, do not rush. Do not judge too quickly. Ask. Speak. Wait for the whole story. Because sometimes the truth is not what it seems. And sometimes a mistake can still lead to love, trust, and a stronger bond.